Welcome back to the Crypto World channel. In this video, I'll be covering the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin is currently forming a bearish pattern, and I'll give you my exact price targets for when this pattern breaks out. Bitcoin got its rejection along this price level, exactly as I said in my last video. And later in this video, I'll also be doing some Ethereum analysis and some Chainlink analysis as well. Ethereum got yet another rejection from its all-time high, but it's getting closer each time. And yeah, Chainlink is also seeing a small correction at the moment, and I'll be covering that later in the video. So if all of that sounds good to you, then make sure to smash a like on the video down below and subscribe to the channel with notifications on if you're new to the channel. It only takes a couple of seconds to go down and click like and subscribe, but it means a lot and it helps the channel out a lot. But yeah, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin 1 hour chart. And as you can see, Bitcoin is forming this kind of sideways pattern at the moment. And so yeah, Bitcoin is getting supported here, and supported here as of right now, as of recording this video. And if I zoom out a little bit, Bitcoin is actually getting some resistance right here and right here off of this previous symmetrical triangle that's been drawn out on the chart over the past 2 weeks. So yeah, obviously Bitcoin was in this big symmetrical triangle for a couple weeks now, and I've been talking about that on the channel for a while. And Bitcoin broke below the symmetrical triangle, and now it's forming this pattern here, and this pattern is called a bear flag. So it is actually a bearish pattern, as the name suggests. And yeah, once again, we're seeing some rejection points along here and some support points along here. And normally these patterns do play out when we have a downtrend like this, and then we see some sideways consolidation or even some consolidation to the upside, like what we've seen just recently. And these bear flags, more often than not, break to the downside. They can still definitely break to the upside, but they are a bearish pattern, and about 70% of the time they break to the downside, and around 30% of the time they break to the upside. And how you measure the exact price target for if these patterns break to the downside is you simply take the price action that led into the pattern. So this is called the pole for the bear flag, and you measure that price action and you drag that over to the other side of the bear flag at the breakout, and that takes you to a breakout point down here, and that comes in at around $27,500 US. Now, while that is the technical target for this breakout trade, Bitcoin has been more bullish than expected in the past few bearish patterns. For example, back here, Bitcoin formed a massive head and shoulders pattern, which is indeed a bearish pattern. And while Bitcoin did break down, it did not meet the full target for this head and shoulders pattern. The full target for this head and shoulders pattern would be at around $23,000 US, and obviously Bitcoin hasn't gone down to $23,000 US. So if I had to tell you what I think will happen, what's most likely to happen, honestly, Bitcoin is more likely to break to the downside out of this pattern, but it will most likely not reach its full bearish target down here. I actually said in my last few videos over the last few days that Bitcoin will most likely be heading sideways after this break to the downside out of the symmetrical triangle. And so far, that's exactly what's happened. As you can see here, we've just been bouncing around sideways. I'll actually play that clip for you right now. Now, most of these corrections, once they begin to bottom out like this, they do tend to have a few bounces kind of sideways like this before they pick the next direction where to head. But yeah, as you just saw in my last few videos, my last videos pretty much exactly predicted what will be happening to the Bitcoin price. And a lot of you have been making a lot of money from watching my last few videos. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed once again so you don't miss all of this valuable information. And also make sure you're watching all the way to the end of these videos. Now, something interesting to mention, if I zoom all the way out like this, and if I bring out the Fibonacci retracement tool and go from this low at around 17,500 all the way up to the all-time high at around 42,000, the next Fibonacci level that's right below us is the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, and that comes in at around $30,000 US. And as I've mentioned in my last few videos, the $30,000 US level is massive support for Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin got big support back here, it got supported back here, and also got supported back in these areas as well. Bitcoin has been trading above $30,000 ever since the beginning of this year, which is absolutely insane. And it's very likely that Bitcoin will continue to hold above $30,000, as once again, that's massive support for Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin does break the $30,000 level, which is possible, then that's not too good for Bitcoin, to be honest. If that happened, we'd really have to pay attention to the volume, because sometimes Bitcoin does does break slightly below these important levels, but only for a short amount of time and then comes straight back up. And this type of price action is known as a bear trap because it basically traps a bunch of investors down in those price areas that are opening up short positions and things like that and are starting to sell Bitcoin because they think it's going to go a lot lower once it's broken below those levels. But if we're not getting the volume come in once it's breaking below those levels, then chances are it's going to be a bear trap and we will head straight back up like what we did back here. But yeah, anyway, if we do have a proper breakout below the $30,000 level, then my next level I'll be targeting is the $26,000 level. And that's for three major reasons. The first major reason is because, once again, I'll map it out on the chart. That is pretty much the bear flag target for if the bear flag plays out. The final target for the bear flag once again comes in at around $27,000 to $26,000. So that's one reason why we could be heading to that price area. Another reason is obviously the Fibonacci retracement here. The golden pocket, or the 61.8% Fibonacci level, is also down at those areas at around $26,000. And that Fibonacci level, the 61.8% Fibonacci level, acts as a magnet quite often for the Bitcoin price. So not all the time does this happen, but quite often, once again, Bitcoin does tend to go towards that Fibonacci level on the chart. And finally, the third reason why the $26,000 level is significant support for Bitcoin is if you look back here on the charts, Bitcoin got some massive support in these regions before the price began to head higher into new all-time highs. So yeah, those are our next most important support levels to watch out for Bitcoin. The immediate support to watch out if Bitcoin does break below this bear flag is once again the $30,000 level. And if it breaks below that level, I will be targeting around the $26,000 to $27,000 level. And if Bitcoin goes down that low to around 27,000, then I myself will be accumulating as much Bitcoin as I possibly can, and I'll be holding for the long term. Because honestly, any Bitcoin below $30,000 at this stage, in my opinion, is a great buy opportunity. This is not financial advice. This is just what I'm seeing on the charts, and that's just what I'm doing myself. I'm just sharing my strategy with all of you. But yeah, anyway, in the short term, my bullish targets is simply to get above the $34,000 level. Bitcoin did slightly get above the $30,000 level just for a quick amount of time. But this just here, this was just a quick fake out because as you can see, Bitcoin broke above the $34,000 level, which I said in my last videos is some big resistance coming in at around 34,000. And yeah, Bitcoin came above that level and it tested the bottom of this symmetrical triangle and it got a rejection off that level. And also, if you look at the break above the $34,000 level, we didn't really see some big volume. We saw just average volume for that breakout. And the fact that it failed the retest of that support, that was double confirmation that we did not have a successful breakout and that we will be heading lower. And so yeah, once again, my immediate upside targets if Bitcoin gets a bounce here will be the $34,000 level, which we could see some more resistance at that level. But if Bitcoin does get a successful breakout from that level, then I'll be targeting the bottom of this symmetrical triangle, which isn't an exact horizontal level, but it comes in at roughly at around 35,000 up to around $35,500 So in that price region, there will be some resistance around there as well. But this correction that we're having now is honestly an amazing buying opportunity, and I'm just using this as an opportunity to accumulate more Bitcoin for myself. But yeah, anyway, here we are on the Ethereum US dollar chart. We're on the 2-hour chart. And as you can see on this chart, Ethereum did get a small bearish divergence on the 2-hour chart. As you can see here, we got a high and a high in the price. And then in the RSI, we got a high and a lower high, and that there is a bearish divergence, which signals that the price is most likely going to be heading down, and that's exactly what's happened since then. So this bearish divergence is pretty much already played out, and as of right now, it's seriously testing the $1,300 level, which is massive support for Ethereum. And just zooming out, it's provided some massive resistance, some support back here, and so on. So yeah, it's incredibly important for Ethereum to hold the $1,300 level, and if it doesn't, then it's most likely going to be heading to this next price range down here, which comes in at around 1,200 to 1,250. Now, I just want to quickly show you something interesting that I'm seeing between the Ethereum chart and the Bitcoin chart when it comes to its all-time high breakout. So just quickly take a mental image of this price action here. This is the Ethereum chart once again on the 2-hour chart. All right, so here we are on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 2-hour chart. Once again, the same time frame. And right here, this is kind of the end of November entering the start of December 2020. 2020. This is exactly where Bitcoin was originally testing its $20,000 all-time high back at the end of last year. And as you can see, Bitcoin was heading up here and it got close to the all-time high, but it didn't quite make it. And then it got a rejection all the way back down. And then it made its way up all the way up to its all-time high pretty much exactly. And then it got a rejection from that level once again. And just following history here, once again, we got the first little retest. We got the second retest, which was closer to the all-time high. It made a higher high. And then if you look along the chart here, it mostly headed sideways for the next few weeks. And then we finally saw the massive breakout above the Bitcoin all-time high. And within the next few weeks, it basically doubled in price once we got that official breakout. Now going back to Ethereum, here we are back on the Ethereum US dollar chart on the 2-hour chart. And as you can see, the similarities are pretty clear. We saw this high here that came up towards its all-time high, didn't quite get there, came back down once again, came back up, got pretty much right up to the all-time high, got a small rejection for the second attempt. But once again, this time round, it got a little bit higher than the last time, the same as what happened to Bitcoin back a couple months ago. And what happened on the Bitcoin chart after this happened is it basically just head sideways once again for the next few weeks. And then it began to build some momentum towards its all-time high. And it had its actual break of the all-time high on its third and final attempt. And so it's very likely that Ethereum will play out in a similar fashion to what happens to Bitcoin back at the end of last year. Once you see the similarities playing out on the chart, it's pretty obvious to see this happening because the psychology of investors doesn't really change, especially only in about 1 to 2 months in time. How people think and react to the change in the price doesn't really change all that much. And so that's why these sort of price patterns play out in a similar fashion, because it's the same human beings that are trading the price. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind, and that's something that I'm looking out for. So honestly, I'm using this time wisely and I'm accumulating as much Ethereum as I possibly can, especially while it's under its all-time high. While Ethereum's still below its all-time high, it's honestly cheap if you're holding for the long term. But yeah, anyway, heading over to the Chainlink US dollar chart, we're on the 1-hour chart. And in my last video, I drawed out this head and shoulders pattern that was forming on the Chainlink US dollar chart. And this pattern pretty much played out perfectly on the chart since my last video as predicted. If you measure the price target for the breakdown of this head and shoulders pattern, the breakdown will take you to around the $22.40 level. I'll map it out on the chart just here. And Chainlink came perfectly down to this level, exactly as this pattern suggested. So yeah, this head and shoulders pattern, that's already fully played out. It's done and dusted. And Chainlink is now finding support at this level, which has also been a resistance level for Chainlink in the past, as you can see back here. So now what next for Chainlink? Well, once again, this level right now is important for Chainlink to hold. That comes in at around the $22.40 level. So it's very important that Chainlink does hold that level, because if it doesn't, then we will see a breakdown down to lower price levels. And the next level of support comes in at around these levels of support and resistance back here. And on the chart, I'll just map it out here at a horizontal level. That comes in at around $21.50. Now, right now, Chainlink is indeed forming another bullish pattern. If you look here on the chart, Chainlink is currently forming a falling wedge pattern. This falling wedge pattern, as you can see, is a bullish pattern. And around 70% of the time, this pattern breaks to the upside, and only around 30% of the time, this pattern breaks to the downside. So it is very likely that we will see a breakout to the upside for Chainlink sometime soon. And now the price target for this falling wedge pattern simply comes in at the top of the falling wedge, and right now that's at the all-time high for Chainlink, and that price currently sits at around $25.80, and that will be the next point of resistance. But yeah, anyway, if you enjoyed the video, then please make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to turn on notifications, because sometimes YouTube doesn't send out my videos, so you have to make sure you click the bell icon and select all so you don't miss any of my future videos. These videos are helping people like you make a lot of money in crypto, and I make sure to provide as much valuable information in these videos as I possibly can. So yeah, if you just simply leave a like and subscribe in return, that means a lot to me, and it only just takes a couple of seconds to go and do that. But yeah, if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions for me, let me know in the comments down below, because I read and reply to all of my comments on these videos. Just be careful in the comment section, because sometimes there can be some scammers down there. If there's someone that replies to your comment, or if there's like another comment down there that lists a Telegram or lists a phone number or something like that, just completely disregard those comments. Do not contact anyone that leaves a comment like that, because because it's most likely a scammer. So just a word of warning for all of you out there. But yeah, anyway, that's just about all I have to say for this video. I really hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.